Michelle.
TAOP. TAOP.
right, good morning, everybody. We made it to Monday. Good morning, Glenn. How are you, sir? Okay, so I'll still do it. I haven't done my recap for Friday. I will do that, as you know. Had a tough Friday on my small account. Let me show you where we are on that. So I'm at 129. I'm starting with $200. Man, $200. I'm finding it a little tough to trade on a small little teeny account, but I'm not giving up. So I'll talk about that in my recap and kind of how I'm going to adjust my strategy a little bit here. Trading a really small account doesn't give you a whole lot of wiggle room. In other words, part of my approach is I do get reversals. Problem is, I didn't have enough in my account on Friday to do any kind of reversals. So anyway, we'll look at that. I'll do that recap, get that out. But right now I have nothing on this morning. I see nothing. Let's take a look at a couple things here. The only thing I have on is my stocks. Show you that up there. On the gold, I am going to watch gold, but right now gold is coming down. I don't have anything on gold. The other thing, crude oil. I don't have anything on crude oil yet either, so everything's very, very quiet. And of course, I'm going to continue to watch natural gas today. Take a look at natural gas. I don't have anything on natural gas either, so those are going to be the three that I'm going to concentrate. So a little part of my strategy that I'm going to change on that small account is I'm going to stay away from the indices until I can get that thing up, hopefully to $500. That should give me enough room to, if I'm wrong, I can at least reverse on my positions. Right now, I'm going to be sticking to gold and natural gas and crude oil. One of those three would be my first trade, but right now I have nothing on. The only thing I have on are my stocks. I'm going to try to do a recap on that. I didn't do any recaps on the stocks last week. Also, I can go ahead and get that and show you how we did last week on the stocks. But right now, I'm really trying to focus on trading a very small account. I've never in my whole life traded such a small account, but I'm going to give it my best shot and see if we can do it. And the other reason is I want to do that is because I really want to be able to help. A lot of my customers don't have a lot of money to trade, and like a lot of traders, they start with a small amount. And I really want to figure out a way that a really small account can get started. And so I'm going to work with it and see what I can do to help people out to figure out how you're going to do it with a teeny little account like that. It's real tough. Got to be super disciplined. And I mean, I just think it's not always going to be good for me because it makes me a lot more disciplined in my trades. But at the same time, maybe help you guys out to that are trying to start with a really small account. And try to build it up, but it's going to take a lot of discipline, and it's going to really restrict what I can do in terms of the kind of trades that I make. So anyway, we'll see. Nothing on there yet. Just a few stocks here, waiting on that. Those have been real quiet. I'm hoping that I can get to the opening and maybe get a shot up on one of these RETL or SLNH. So we'll keep an eye on those. RETL. And SLNH. So we'll keep an eye on those. Right now, our retail is getting pretty quiet, as you can see, kind of thin, but I still think we may have a nice little pop on that, so we'll keep an eye on it. Volume right now is still very, very light on RETL, but we'll see what happens there. And this on SLNH, we are getting, that's also very, very light volume, so can't put a whole lot on there yet. What's the other ones I want to watch here? See what VIEW looks like. Man, there's just not a lot of volume on any of this stuff this morning. VIEW. Let's pull that up here. VIEW. I mean, I have some targets up here on VIEW. Good, and where sound sucks. I actually got the thing working today, Glenn. What do you know about that? All right. So in the meantime, if there's anything anybody wants me to look at this morning before the opening bell, I'll be glad to do that. I'll see if I have any patterns setting up for you, if I see anything, and if I do, maybe we can get some Einstein targets for us. VIEW. Man, I like VI. You know what? Man, where's the volume on everything today?
VIEW.
Can I put a couple hundred shares on? I don't really want to go too heavy on any of this stuff, to be honest. It's about a 4-cent spread here on VIEW. Let me first get some target and see if it's even worth even jumping into it. Alright, so I have a 190 target. Oops, 190.
SLMH.
2. I have a 2, I have an 01. Thought I saw one more. Thought I saw one more setting up here. Yeah, I do. I have one more. All the way up to 205. 205.
INAB.
Okay, VIEW is tightening up a little bit on its spread. I'm going to put a couple 200 shares on that. Let's see what we can do on that. SL and H is starting to move for me, so let's go back and either see what that's doing here. I just hit one target, so let's take a look. All right, I have one up here at 34. Way up there, 434 SLNH. All the closer targets have already been hit. And let's give you some targets on RETL, RETL. All right, 57. 57. 60. So what I'm doing here is
SLMH.
I'm using something we call Einstein. It's going to provide me with these high probability targets.
SLMH. SLMH.
So my little, oh wow, SLMH. Go baby. Wow, I didn't expect that. Look at that. 500 shares. I'm already at the... All right, so let's see what's going on here. Seems to get nuts. Wow. It just like, it blasted through those targets. All right. Getting some price rejection. We'll see if we pop up again here. I want to watch it, see if we can get back up here. All right, so once again, I mentioned Einstein, so let's talk a little bit about Einstein if you've never seen any of my videos. Okay, so basically I'm going to use kind of an analogy here on how Einstein works. This is not something that I personally developed. Einstein was shared to me back in the 80s by a very successful day trader. He traded mainly treasury bonds, and he was trading the big S&P 500 at the time. That's when it was like $500 a point. And basically the way it works is the only analogy that I can think of is when you have, let's say you have a car going down the road and it builds up a certain momentum, okay? And let's say at any given point in time, based on the speed of that momentum, it were to slam on its brakes. Well, the car's not going to come to a complete stop. There's going to be a skid factor. There's going to be a distance that is going to continue to travel, right? Based on its speed or momentum, all right? So what he figured out is that if say I'm a stock trader and I'm trying to go for 20-cent moves, 50-cent moves, 10-cent moves, $1 moves. Well, he backward engineered it, okay? So basically said, okay, so what is the momentum that I need in order that if I were to buy at whenever it reaches its up to a certain speed, that I can get in and know with a high probability that's going to go a certain distance. In this case, it would be, it would be a point value, right? So that's basically what he came up with. So if you get up to a certain momentum, there's a high probability it's going to keep going a certain distance, assuming, right, that assuming that you reach a certain speed and that over a long period of time, the probabilities are it's going to keep going unless it hits what he says like a brick wall. So a brick wall would be something like some sort of major news event come out or something unpredictable. So that's where you get into that 70, 25, 30% probability that something unexpected is going to happen that's going to get in the way. But in most cases, over 75% of the time, it is going to hit its targets, all right? So very high probabilities, and there's a lot of things when you're trading probabilities, there's a whole lot of things that you can do with that in terms of adjusting account size and so forth. So that's the premise behind it, and it's just absolutely mind-blowing how well Einstein works, all right? And so what I have done is with the patterns that I have personally developed, and once again, these patterns are not based on any kind of classical chart pattern. You know, it's not. I'm not looking at head and shoulders, and I'm not looking at wedges and flags and all of that. And I'm not using Fibonacci and Gann and all of that. I have very specific price patterns that I look at, and basically it's a combination of 3, 4, sometimes 5 bars with volume and other factors that set up these very high probability patterns. So I add a high probability pattern, and then I use Einstein for my targets, which is also a very high probability. And those two together have just been amazing, okay? It has changed my whole way of trading over the last 40 years. And I've been doing this for, well, I say 35 years, because I really didn't find it, or I wasn't discovered until about 5 years into my career when he shared that with me. So realistically, 35, 36 years I've been using this. And I've never changed and never used anything else, because with those consistent probabilities and the fact that it works in everything that I do, I mean, or everything I want to trade, then why would I want to change and look at something else? So the number one thing in trading is find a tool. Well, two things. You got to find a tool that you believe in. If you don't believe in what you're doing, if you don't believe in what you're using to enter the market, then you're never going to be successful, because you're never going to have confidence. You're always going to second guess that next trade, all right? But even more important is, no matter what you're trading with, whatever tool you're using, all right, that tool should be a profitable tool in any kind of market that you trade. Okay, and that's the problem with a lot of these indicators that have these adjustable parameters, right? And something as simple as, and I always use a moving average because a lot of people can understand what that means. So you have a moving average, and all of a sudden some guy says, "Man, this is great on the E-mini S&P. I can use a 21 bar moving average." Then you try to use that same thing by going over to a treasury bond, or you try to use it on stock, it's fallen apart. Well, that's not a reliable tool. You've got to find something that you should never have to change. It should work across the board. And that's where I got into patterns, because I could never find anything reliable enough. And also, those are very, very subjective. The beautiful thing about patterns is they give you very specific entries and exits, and it's easy to backtest a pattern, where it's very difficult to test an indicator, because the problem with any kind of indicator is that if you've ever tried to trade an indicator before, you know they're very, very subjective, number one. And number two, they're going to give you, particularly if you start using 2 or 3 of them, they're going to start giving you conflicting information. So not a confident builder there. So anyway, that's a little bit about Einstein. That's why I'm using it. And anyway, that's the whole purpose of this demonstration, is to show y'all that there are other things out there that we can use to trade. We don't have to rely on what is, publicly available out there, all right? The guys that trade for a living, they're not using that stuff, all right? I'm telling you, they're not using that stuff. I'm talking about the big players that are trading and making a living out of trading, that are, behind their desk, sitting in their home, and nobody ever knows about them. Those are the guys that are using a different approach to trading. And so, anyway, enough being said, I need to focus on what's going on here. So, SLNA, so let's see if we can get another pop. I'm expecting a pop to come in after the opening here, so that's why I'm kind of holding out on it. VIEW. Let's look at VIEW real quick. VIEW. Yeah, I think VIEW is sitting right around VWAP. Now, this little purple line you see here is something we call VWAP, right? And it's a study, it's not an indicator, right? You don't adjust the parameters on a VWAP. But I use VWAP not as a indication of whether I'm going to become a buyer or seller. I like to see what my patterns are doing around VWAP, okay? I want to see if I'm getting buys or sells around VWAP. So that's what I look at. Also, I like to see, particularly with stocks, I like to see stocks above VWAP for buying, okay? I don't like to see it below VWAP for buying. So what I like to see is I like to see a stock come down into VWAP instead of a stock going up into VWAP. All right, I know there's been some studies done that shows that you have a very low probability if your stock is coming up, going from below VWAP up to VWAP, to be a buyer. All right, you really want to watch as the stock is coming down into VWAP and then become a buyer. And that's what I like to see. I like to see a stock coming down into VWAP, and then I like to see my pattern setting up and holding and saying, yeah, this is going to be a buy. That is what I like to see. All right. Now, will I only use that? No, I will not only use that. All right. If it's not coming down to VWAP and I have a buy and I'm above VWAP, then yeah, I'll take that as long as I'm looking and I have a pattern and Einstein is hopefully giving me at least 2 or 3 different levels. I like that over than maybe seeing a single target on Einstein. I like multiple targets on Einstein, kind of like I have over here on VIEW. So I'm going to hang out on VIEW. Now, SLHN just kind of blasted through all of my targets, but I really think that we're going to see some additional buying coming in right after the opening. So that's what I'm hanging out for on that. All right. So I don't have a big position on right now on anything. And so I'm going to continue to hold out there. On my small account, as I said, nothing going on there. I'll do a recap for Friday. I was out of town again this weekend, so I didn't have a chance to do it, but I will do it for everybody so you can kind of see what happened on Friday. And I'll be talking about how I'm going to adjust things on a small account, because when you're trading a very small account, it doesn't give you a whole lot of wiggle room. You better be hitting right out of the gate, and I did, but I kind of got a little aggressive on Friday based on it's like a habit. I mean, I'm just so used to being able to adjust size, and I realized pretty quickly that I can't do that in a small account. I will blow myself out of the water. So I am going to make some adjustments, and hopefully I'm going to keep tweaking with it, and I'll continue to put real money behind it on a very small account. I'm going to see what is that ideal account size if a guy wanted to start. You know, I've done it with 500 before. I did it several years ago. I did a small account challenge. I started with 500. I was able to double that in a month. But 200, I'm really kind of scraping the barrel there. So can I do it on 200? I'm going to do my best. If not, I may bump it up to 300 and do it again. So we'll figure it out, because I really want to see people be able to get into this business with a teeny small account and build it up to where you have enough cushion to where you can really start hitting the market, because you need money, okay, if you're going to trade. If you want to make dollars, you've got to have the dollars in there in order to give you some flexibility, and it is a lot easier to trade, you know, with a bigger account than it is a small account, because it gives you a lot more flexibility. So anyway, that's where we are. So nothing going on there.
NYA.
VIEW.
DERM.
See if we can get things heating up VIEW. Wasn't willing to put a whole lot of size on that, but it is increasing. I am up to 113,000. There's anything in here that's just really blown me away on volume. SLNH, 421,000. I mean, that's good, but I'd like to see it at least over a mil. Glenn, if you have a chance today, Glenn, give me a call. Give me a call. After we do our trading, sometime after, let's see, it's coming up on 8:30 my time, maybe after 11 Central Time, maybe, if you can. I'd appreciate it. DERM, nothing going on. Hey, Mini Russell, nothing. Gold. Nothing. Crude. Nothing. Natural gas. Nothing.
MINM. MINM. SSNT.
Hey Glenn, let's take a look at your coin. What's coin doing these days? Let's take a look. What is coin doing? Let's see. Coin.
MYA.
Yeah, it looks like coin may want to work a little bit lower in here. I don't have any setups on it, but it does look like it wants to look lower. I would like to see it above your VWAP too, but I don't have anything down here. So, I wish I had something for you. Sorry, I don't see any setups for coin. Not at this point yet. So, that doesn't mean it won't change. Things can change by the, you know how this market is. But right now, I wouldn't, if I was a buyer, I probably wouldn't want to enter a new position. All right, so we're real close to the opening bell. I'm going to wrap it up. Everybody have a good day. And I need to concentrate on this, so I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
MINM.